Hello, sports fans, and welcome to another edition of Scott Sports 101. We've got quite a bit to talk about. We're going to talk about Andrew Berry's press conference from yesterday. We're going to talk some other NFL news, and we're going to talk some Cavs and NBA trade deadline, and try with their time. But first, here is today's Scott Sports 101 trivia question. Who was the winningest coach in NFL history? I'll have the answer later in the podcast. Well, the Browns introduced Andrew Berry at a press conference yesterday at their team's facility in Berea. The 32-year-old rookie GM takes over a team that has a 13-18-1 record over the previous two seasons. And, of course, the Browns need changes beginning with the offensive line, tight end, and defensive line. No doubt about that. But this team, with a QB to develop, which is Baker Mayfield, and two talented running backs, Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt, and star defensive end in Myles Garrett, you can add other names of your favorite players, such as guard Joel Bettino and J.C. Tretter, and defensive tackle Larry Obijobi as well. Upon further review, the Browns should move on Oliver Vernon, who played only 10 games because of a knee injury. Vernon has a non-guaranteed salary of $15 million in 2020. In the last 3 years, Vernon has missed 4, 5, and 6 games respectively. He was part of the ill-advised trade with the Giants, where the Browns sent dependable offensive guard Kevin Zettler to New York. Berry is already starting to make his mark on Browns owner Jimmy Haslam. Berry hit it off with Stefanski right away, and fans think this is a really good fit for the Browns and what this team needs to get to the next level. Now, Berry, as you know, is the youngest GM in NFL history. Turning now to the Cavs. The Cavs lost to the Oklahoma City Thunder last night, 109-103 at Chesapeake Energy Arena last night, as I mentioned. Colin Sexton led the way with 23 points, 3 rebounds, 2 assists. Kevin Love, 20 points, 7 rebounds, 5 assists. Larry Nance Jr., 14 points, 10 rebounds, 5 assists. Kevin Porter Jr., 13 points, 4 rebounds, 3 assists. Darius Garland, 12 points, 2 rebounds, 6 assists. C.D. Osman, 11 points, 5 rebounds, 4 assists. And John Henson, 10 points, 11 rebounds, and 2 assists. The Cavs never led in this game last night. The Cavs fall to 13-39 and have now lost 6 straight and 12 out of their last 13 games. And the Cavs now have the worst record in the NBA, now being in 15th place in the Eastern Conference. The Cavs have the next 3 days off, but they will be back. And get ready to take on the Los Angeles Clippers on Sunday at Rocket Mortgage Fieldhouse. The Cavs will try to snap a 6-game losing skid. Tip-off is at 7:30 p.m. on Fox Sports Ohio. Well, the NBA trading deadline went into effect today at 3 o'clock. The big question is and was, could this be Tristan Thompson's last day as a Cleveland Cavalier? Now, Thompson wants out of Cleveland, as you know. He wanted out of it, and there are 5 teams that were interested in signing him. 2 of those teams were interested in Thompson, were the Oklahoma City Thunder and the Los Angeles Clippers. Thompson has an expiring contract as the NBA trade deadline approaches fast. Tristan trade would be a huge shot to morale, and that is very true. Now, Tristan Thompson could have been playing elsewhere in the next few hours, but there is another reality about this potential for a Thompson trade deal that may have been forgotten. Chris Fito wrote about it, the effect a potential trade of Thompson could have on the Cavs, and it could have been Larry Nance Jr. would have had a tough time losing him as a person. And he says that he is a team leader, that Thompson is really giving him a lot of perspective and really respects him, and really gives his team a good leadership. And the trade deadline, despite numerous call-up until 3 p.m., the 3 p.m. trade deadline, the Cavs did not find a new home for Tristan Thompson, and there are no plans to buy him out of his contract, league source told Cleveland.com. So that means Tristan Thompson will remain with the Cavs. Shortly before the clock expired, the Cavs agreed to a huge move, sending Brandon Knight and John Henson and a future second-round draft pick to the Detroit Pistons in exchange for two-time All-Star Andre Drummond. Hey, Rich, what's up? Can you hold on a sec? The 26-year-old center, who has a player option for 2020 for the 2020-21 season, certainly gives the Cavs some leverage in the summer negotiations with Thompson. And Drummond has been averaging 17.8 points a game and 15.8 rebounds through 49 games, and 1.7 at blocks, which ranks last in this league. So we'll see what happens with that. Rich, stay on the line. I'll be right with you. We're going to get back to talking about this in just a moment. But right now, it is time to reveal the answer to today's Scott Sports 101 trivia question. Who is the winningest coach in NFL history? And if you said Don Shula, you are correct. Don Shula, who was known primarily for coaching the Miami Dolphins from 1970 to 1995, has won 347 games during his 32-year career. And I have another trivia question on my next podcast, so stay tuned for that. Now, getting back to the Cavs and the trade deadline, I felt this was a good move to not buy Thompson out of his contract just yet. But we know he does want out of Cleveland, and I know they passed on Kevin Love as well. I just want to let you know that. But we know Thompson wants out of Cleveland at some point, and Larry Nance Jr. I know is going to be sad to see him go because he really respects Thompson as a person, and I think it's going to be a few years before the Cavs are back in the playoffs, and I just feel that that it really really just seems that way, and they really need to get some more pieces of the puzzle. And John Beilein, he's done a fair job with the Cavs, but I don't know if he's going to be back next season as a Cavs coach. I don't know if they're going to renew his contract. Rich, you still there? Okay. And I just don't know if they're going to renew Beilein's contract, so we'll have to wait and see on that. And as I mentioned, I'm going to go back to talking about Andrew Berry's press conference. It was all right, but he is starting to make a mark on Jimmy Haslam. He knows that this is not going to be easy, and that he's the vice president also of football operations, and he's got to find players for the. He needs to get offensive linemen and defensive linemen. And tight end linemen. He needs to get that too, and as I mentioned yesterday, the Browns will be looking to hire Joe Woods, and they already have an offensive coordinator, Alex Van Pelt, so it's really starting to come together, but they really got a lot of work to do before the 2020 season gets underway, especially at the NFL Combine and at the NFL Draft, which is coming up on the 23rd. And for round one, I will be at the Murphy House, the home of my really good friends, Matt and Kenny Murphy, and my special guest joining me for round one of the NFL Draft, which will be on ESPN on Thursday the 23rd at 8 p.m., will be none other than my really good friend, Matt Murphy. And we'll break it all down, and we'll keep letting you know when the picks come in the first round. So stay tuned for that, and please tune in for that because it's going to be a lot of fun. Well, that's just about going to wrap it up for this edition of Scott Sports 101. Always remember, be a team player each and every day in every way possible. So long, everybody. 3, 2, 1, I'm done.